guys, how you doing? We're out here on a drive on Saturday, and just a little update on the lift rods that I made and calibrated and running 34s. So far, it's pretty solid. The vehicle itself is just in incredible condition because it's only been, it probably hasn't seen any off-road at all. So for almost 150,000 miles, it is running as if it's brand new. I mean, the steering is tight, everything is tight on it. So really happy with the condition of how it feels running 34s. Now, mind you, I haven't gotten an alignment yet, but I only think I'm not going to do that until I've got the suspension heights and calibrations 100% dialed in. I still have a lot of cutting to do, just because the clearance on 34s is pretty minimal. So I've got to cut a lot of body steel away. Most of the chassis that I've got cut away, maybe another inch or two or so to get that taken care of for clearance on full crank. Obviously going over driveways is, it tends to rub, so that's why I want to get more clearance taken care of there. But otherwise, this thing is running smoothly. And let me show you the issue that I had with why I ended up on bump stops and why it's really good to pay attention when you do your lift rods, just to make sure that everything's happy when you start messing with either the gap tool or just installing the lift rods. Now, the lift rods, really, you should just be able to install them and go. But if you wanted to do any height adjustments because it looked a little bit too much or not enough, the gap tool really helps there. So the one thing that I did was, I was just stuck with, in my mind, okay, I'm done here, and I completely blew off doing the calibration. And what ended up showing up on my dash, let me turn this around, is that the front left was in red on the top left, right above the wheel. That little white line right there was red and blinking, telling me, bro, you've got something to fix there. And that's why when I hit highway speeds, it was, need some attention here. That's scary, because again, I just barely touched 50 miles an hour. The red suspension fault came up, and within maybe 30 seconds or so, going up towards the on-ramp, or off-ramp, I completely ended up on bump stops. And grinding on 34s inside the wheel well is not a happy sound. Plus, it screwed up my bumper that I had just finished welding. So, lesson learned. It wasn't necessarily a lesson, but check your work. I knew that I needed to do it. It's just I was driving around town and it just completely slipped my mind. So yes, I guess lesson learned. Anyways, running on 34s. These are mud terrains, Nito trail grapplers, 295/70 18s. And maybe you might be able to hear it, but obviously you're going to get road noise from running mud terrains. But the ride quality, I'm sitting higher, and while I can feel bumps in the road, this thing is rolling great. It's really comfortable. Although I've only done one R-knot changeover, while the other three are yet to be changed. It's a pretty smooth ride. I'm really happy with it. But I think that a lot of that is attributed to, again, the steering rack, the bushings, and everything on the control arms is super tight. So, that's probably going to be one of the ride quality issues you might have with a 150,000 mile vehicle, is that some of those things might be worn down. But again, this was just road driven between Glendale and Los Angeles Airport, which is probably, 35 miles at the most. lifetime that the previous owner had this vehicle. She was a flight attendant, took great care of it. You know, it was also a family vehicle while the kids grew up, but they didn't abuse it for any reason. So anyways, that's just an update for now on how these things are, how the vehicle is riding and how well it's running these 34s. Now, if you're considering putting something on 34, something bigger than 33s, even 33s are going to require some cutting. It's going to be a lot of work, so be prepared. You know, a lot of you want to run 35s, do this other stuff, and you know, with a 3-inch lift Johnson rod kit available, seems like okay, yeah, that should be no problem. But like I said, I had already lifted my suspension to mimic a 3-inch lift, and it was rubbing like crazy. So the other thing was how much I had to cut away from the fender flares, because, well, I'm actually going to be posting a video on attaching those things a little bit more securely. But as you can imagine, when I ended up on bump stops, the tires just popped all of those things right off. I mean, luckily they stayed attached to the car because some of them are still attached by screws. But any of those panel clips just popped right off. They're designed to do that. So a lot of you get upset at those clips that are just plastic. They break, especially the white ones that just, you know, snap off when you try to do some work on your fenders. But that's what they're designed to do, because you don't want to be bending panels. So I am actually going to be doing a video on attaching those a little bit more securely. It's not going to be for the faint of heart, and it's not necessarily probably going to be for those of you that are wheeling, rock crawling really hard, because you might end up bending panels if you do not take care of your clearance issues, if you have any. But if you're running 32s and you're wheeling hard, this fix should be probably perfect for you. So I'll be posting a video on that pretty soon. Hopefully I'll be able to work on it this weekend. It's something really quick and, well, sorry, it's not going to be quick, but it's actually pretty simple in concept. So I'll be working on that. So again, thank you guys for watching my video. Please, if you can, share it to the Land Rover community. Anybody that is willing to do mods or has any questions, feel free to ask. You can follow me on Instagram at monster_L319, and also here on my YouTube channel. All right, so I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how everything's going. Thanks a lot.